is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, March 10, 2025, and in this episode I want to share my handwerk perikelen, that's a Dutch word for crafty adventures, from the past 2 weeks with you. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, I love to sew, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, I have worked so much on so many lovely projects and I want to share all the things with you, but let's start with something I have not with me anymore, a finished object. It is a little item for my little niece. She will turn 4 years old end of the month and I knitted her again a little slipover. Not again a little slipover. I never knitted a slipover for her. I added something to her knitted wardrobe. My little niece is very knit-worthy. My own children are teenagers. They are much older and much bigger than my little niece. And I am quite... I think I'm compensating the fact that I couldn't knit when my own kids were little. And I regret that a little bit. Although I also realized that I wouldn't have so much knitting time when they were little because it was quite hard working, and now I do have a lot of knitting time and I have a little niece. So I knit a lot for her. She's very knit-worthy. As well my niece as her parents, my sister and her husband, they really appreciate the knitted items, and that's a heart-jumping moment for me. So I decided to knit something again for her. It was something that was in my mind for quite a while. Let's show it before. This is a page of my knitting book. I knitted her the Storm Slipover. It's a Petite knit pattern, and I wanted to knit actually the Moby Slipover was in my head, but I discovered that Moby Slipover was knitted in fingering weight yarn, and fingering weight yarn for a toddler garment, I don't know. The Storm Slipover was in a DK weight and that felt much better. So I decided to knit that one, and I used some lovely pink yarn. It is coast yarn, and it's actually... yeah, I don't know if I can explain it correctly, but the coast yarn is well known from Holst Coast, but I bought it in a Dutch yarn shop, which is called Breda, and several years ago, so I don't know if I remember the story correct. But the lady of the yarn shop told me that you can buy the coast yarn in the coast mill and you can put your own label on it. So Holst does do that. I'm sorry if I'm not correct. And she did that too. So it's not Holst Coast, but Breda Coast. It has the same meters and the same quality. So it is actually the same yarn. Even the names of the colors are the same. So I don't know if Holst is a brand. I don't know the facts completely, but it is not Holst Coast but Breda Coast. It is a mix of wool and cotton, and that makes it perfect for this time of the year when the temperatures are rising a little bit. We had quite some warm spring weather, unexpected early spring weather this weekend. It was lovely, but I think temperatures will drop, and a slipover is perfect because you can wear it with a long sleeve t-shirt under it, or a short sleeve t-shirt, or no t-shirt, and also with those quickly growing toddlers, there are no sleeves, and I think the sleeves are the first thing you can see that they are growing out of their sweaters. So yeah, really lovely to make. It is a top-down pattern, so you start at the back and you knit the back panel, and then you pick up stitches for the front and then for the other front, and then you connect them with some extra stitches and you make the increases for the armholes, and then you start knitting in the round. And it has a lovely structured stitch pattern, some panels, some segments which are divided, do you say it like that, by some garter stitch rows, and every segment has its own pattern, its own stitch pattern, and that makes it really lovely to knit because you really want to knit to the next one. I must confess, knitting with knitting with the Coast yarn held double. I heard some people telling that there is some spin oil left in the Holst, and it's not Holst yarn. I'm making that mistake over and over again. In those yarns, which will disappear when you wash it and when you block it. But when you are knitting, your knitted fabric is not looking very good. It will blow up when it's will be blocked and washed, but while you are knitting it is a little bit wonky and that's really a sensitive point for me because I'm not a neat knitter, so I make wonky stitch of my own and I don't need wonky yarn, but I do love how the yarn turns out after blocking, so I have to trust on that, but that's quite hard. Of course I didn't swatch. You can always make a swatch and block your swatch and check if you are happy with how it turns out, but I'm not a swatcher, so that process it takes a little bit longer during my whole knitting. Ooh, how will it block out? But it was actually blocked out quite good. I was doubting about my needle size. I did knit on 3.25mm needles. I made a garment for myself in Holst Coast before, and also held double, and it was quite a tight gauge. So I thought, okay, let's take the same needle, and with structure stitches you are more alternating between knitting and purling, so it's a little bit looser. But I think it was the good decision. After blocking it turned out quite nice, so I'm happy with it. I only made a very big mistake here. Just in the middle front, not on the side or on the back, no, here, and it was quite visible. But I have a bit of an identity crisis because I always thought that I was a perfectionist. I have a very active Miss Perfect with me most of the time, but I think she's on a sabbatical because quite often lately I realize that I make mistakes and I think, oh, it's fine, it's okay, and I pretend that I'm an imperfect perfectionist, and I think that's I am a wannabe imperfect perfectionist, but maybe I reached that. Maybe I am now. Maybe I am someone who can play with her own perfectionism. So that's really, really nice. Yeah. I knitted with the color Rosewood, did I say? Held double, and I only need 2 skeins. Oh, those are not actually skeins. 2 yarn cakes. My whole Slipover weighs 91 grams total. So 2, and this is left, and that's, yeah, really interesting. Sometimes hand knitted items are in the Netherlands, and I think everywhere, people used to knit to create cheaper items, but nowadays with the clothing industry, cheaper items are everywhere, and hand knitted items are not always cheaper than what you can buy in stores. But with this one, only 2 skeins for a little toddler item. You can't buy it in, yeah, that's not true, of course you can't buy everything cheap if you want to, but it's price likely very interesting. I'm rambling right now. Oh, I am a perfectionist because now I want to edit this out. Okay. Yeah, but it was very, very lovely to know that with a little bit of yarn you can make a lovely garment for my little favorite toddler. Yeah, I made myself something too, which is really HeartJumping, and I will tell you all about it, but I will go a little bit, a level up, sit a little bit higher so you can see what I am wearing. One moment, please. I am wearing a complete new outfit today. As well, my vest as my skirt are new and made by me, and that's absolutely HeartJumping. And they are matching together as if they were meant to be together. It was not a meant to be combination, but they were finished both last week, and when I finish something I want to start wearing it immediately, so I put it on together and I thought, oh, this is a lovely combination, especially the colors, but also the style and the fit, and that was HeartJumping when you have a perfect matching outfit. Yeah, it was also very lovely spring weather, and I realized I have a spring outfit for the spring weather, so it really made me happy. So let me tell you all about it and start with the vest. This is my second Calidez vest. My first one I finished quite recently. I combined the Nordic Bloom vest pattern from Caitlin Hunter with the Calidez vest pattern from Jenjoyce design. And I really love wearing that item. It was not perfect because I made a few mistakes. The Calidez vest pattern is kind of a recipe. You check your gauge and then you decide which size you will make. But I'm not a swatcher, so I didn't know my gauge and I got a complete error, and that has nothing to do with the pattern, but all with my knitting brain, how it works or how it not works. But I was so focusing on following the pattern that I completely forget to add the modifications, which you can find in the pattern but at the end, and I didn't read that. I made a V-shaped neckline, and I did want a crew neckline, so I did that now. And I also wanted more narrow shoulders, and that's also a modification you can find in the pattern. That's more as an outdoor vest, a layer, and I want a little bit more elegant shape of the shoulders. And yeah, although I didn't do all those things on my first one, it was my favorite item to wear the past 2 weeks. It is the perfect layer piece. I don't know how your weather is in spring, but Dutch weather is really good for layers, because you can start quite cold in the morning and then in the afternoon it gets warm. You put off all the cardigan and then in the evening it will cool down again. So it is very nice to have those woolly layers. You can wear it with a long sleeve t-shirt or a short sleeve t-shirt or a cardigan on top of it, and yeah, you can change and you are prepared for all temperatures. So that's really nice. So it was really making me happy, and I'm really happy I have another one right now. And I did add the modifications this time. Again, I started at the bottom, 2x2 rib, and then I made some color work. Again, I used a color work pattern out of the Vogue Knitting Stitch Dictionary. I chose the white chevron, this one. A very basic color work, but I really loved it, and I did choose for a high contrast this time. That was a low contrast, but this time I thought, let's make some high contrast. This is Let Lopi in the color Straw, and this is a very black one. Worsted weight yarn, and a very rustic worsted weight yarn. I love knitting with it. And I did add some stick stitches, and after finishing the color work I bound off the stick stitches and I started knitting back and forth. I did finish my stick the same way as I did with that one, and I must confess I will do it different next time. Let me explain you. One moment, I will open my buttons. I have a lot of buttons to open. So, I really love finishing my sticks with the stick sandwich, so I did that right now too. And this time I worked it all up to here, because I couldn't do that with that one, because it was a V-shaped neckline and the ribbing goes all over your neck and back. But this time with a crew-shaped neckline it works. The only thing is you can see a little bit of the stick sandwich. Yeah, it's a little bit thicker, and I realized that I don't use my buttons for this one. So I think next time I will add Colorwork, I will make a false button band. I learned that from my Hobbiton vest. And this one I put over my head when I put it on, and I don't wear it open fronted because I don't really love the look of that. That one I only wear open fronted. I even didn't add buttons on it because I wasn't sure about the buttons. The body of my first Calidez vest is quite longer because the Colorwork chart needed to be finished before I could split. This one is shorter, so it's more, yeah, I can wear it. That one is too long to wear closed, so I will not add buttons. For this one I did afterthought buttons too, because I wanted to check when the garment was finished. I really love adding buttons afterwards, and I'm not a good button finisher. I'm not good in sewing buttons on the right place because I did my best to measure, to divide them evenly and to measure and put stitch markers on the place, but every time I sew my buttons it goes wrong. So yeah, I am a clumsy button sewer, and you can see it, especially this is a little bit too much distance, and this one was really wonky, so I did replace this one, and then I thought, oh, I am done with it. It's okay. So as I told, I'm not a perfectionist anymore. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, it was okay. So I think next time, to avoid the sticking part, I can make a false button band, because I love the sticking part, but it's extra work and it's not really necessary when you don't use the buttons. Yeah, and then I started knitting back and forth, and this time I did add some more increases. So for the other one the fabric was until there, and now it's a little bit more narrow. The only thing is that I still have some extra fabric right here. So yeah, I don't know, maybe the size is good. I don't know, I don't want to go down one size, but maybe I have to do some more increases. Yeah, I think I have to change a little bit here next time more. We shall see. We shall play with that. And then you make the crew neckline, and when I started to bind off stitches for the neckline, I thought, oh, on such a low point, but it was actually perfect because I love a low neckline. I don't like to have it here, and now my neck is open, and I really love this fit. So I'm really happy with it. The only thing is that I have to do something with this one, but it's not bothering me enough to redo it on this one. This is fine, and I will make a next one because the Calidez vest is my new favorite pattern. I want 20 Calidez vests in my wardrobe. Now that's a little bit much. I do want that, but I don't know if that will happen. I have my third in mind. I want to make one with an all-over stitch pattern, structure stitch pattern, but I don't know if I want to make it in a DK weight yarn yet, or still in a Let Lopi weight yarn. Maybe I want to play with this a little bit more. Maybe I have to make a plain one. I don't know, a scrappy one, a cable, no, not cable. Yeah, cables again, another Colorwork. I have so many ideas for Calidez vests. Really lovely. So absolutely recommend this pattern. I love it. Did I say I love it? What I also love is my skirt. It is, and you can't see it really well, I will add a little bit of filming in it. It is my own very much modified Songbird skirt. The Songbird skirt is a pattern from So Liberated, and I made 2 Songbird skirts last year, and it's a very lovely skirt made with some tears. I don't know if you say tears. Skirt. In Dutch we call it strokenrok. You have 3 parts, and you I don't know the English sewing terms. I hardly know them in Dutch. No, it's not coming up, but doesn't matter. But what I realized when I was making those skirts is that I really love the look of them, but they feel a little bit festive, or I want more basic items. And I do wear them, but I want more basic items, especially for the other seasons. I love to wear the Songbird skirt in summer, but not in other seasons. And what I did love was the upper part. I really love the waistband with a very wide piece of elastic, and the pockets. I love the pockets. The pockets are so deep and so big, and I love the feeling of my hands in the pockets, and I love that I can put all the things in my pockets. I'm not really a bag lady. I do bring my backpack with me when I go somewhere, but when I go for a hike, or just I want my keys in my bag. I don't really love my phone in my phone is quite big, so then this happens. So it looks a bit weird, but still I love to have all the things in my pockets. So I decided to use the upper part of the Songbird skirt and just make it longer, so it's very straight and also a little bit narrow. Last summer I made 2 skirts, but they were quite narrow at the bottom, so I can only make very feminine steps, very small steps. It was looking a bit silly. I made those skirts shorter also, so I really love the look, and yeah, it's looking better on my body. I really love those white linen skirts and also my hinterland dresses, but when the skirt is too long I look silly in it, and with a more straighter model, straighter shape, I can have the longer skirts. So I really love this one, and it is a linen, stone-washed linen, a little bit of thicker linen, and I really feel so good. It's a bit of a slouchy skirt with pockets, and yeah, it's really making me happy. So yeah. I have some other pieces of fabric, and I will definitely experiment with finding the perfect size. I think this is quite perfect. It's a little bit, the only thing is when I'm biking, I don't have I do have limited space to move my legs, and I can bike, it's fine, but I love to have unlimited space. But that's maybe, and the other skirts, they are so wide, there is no... when I do this, oh, it's too high. Now I can't show you, but there is a limit now how wide my legs can be. But I don't. It's only with biking that it's bothering me. So, and I can just put it a little bit higher, and then it's okay, and it's still decent. But I was thinking if I add 10 centimeters, maybe that's enough to feel the unlimited feeling on my bike. So that's what I will try. I will keep you updated. I have a few more finished objects which are really heart jumping to me. I finished my first ever quilted project. I don't know if it's really my first ever, because I think about 10 years ago I tried some quilting on my sewing machine, but my sewing machine and me, we had a quite complicated relationship. We were not really friends at that time, so sewing all the pieces of fabric in straight lines with straight corners, it was a disaster. So I quit quilting quite soon after I started quilting, and then I just enjoyed the look of quilting when I saw other people's quilted projects. But at the beginning of this year, or actually the end of last year, 2024, I was very poorly laying on the couch, covered with a flu. No, not covered, caught with the flu, and my Instagram is hibernating at the moment. I was a very big Instagram lover, but I decided to quit it during the winter to see how much that Instagram app is influencing my creative life. And my challenge is almost ending. March 21, spring will start, so I have to decide what I will do. I don't know actually yet, but that's not what it's about. I was laying and I couldn't knit, and I needed some creative distraction, but I couldn't be creative myself because I had a fever, and I just wanted to soak up some other people's creativity. And normally I would use my Instagram app for it, but I wasn't allowed because of my challenge, so I decided to dust off my Pinterest app. And then I discovered English paper piecing. And it's not, I didn't really discover it because I knew it existed and I always loved the look of it, but now I discovered it as an option for me to do. So that's what happened. I finished my first English paper piecing pillowcase. Ta-da! I really love it. It was so much fun to do. And this you do by hand, although the hexagon part I did by hand. The rest I finished it with my sewing machine, but sewing by hand was really so much easier than sewing by your machine. Yeah, it doesn't go so fast. It just yeah, I don't know. This tempo suits me better. So I really loved it, and it was not my plan to make a pillowcase. I just wanted to try out how it worked with those paper pieces and folding your fabric around and sewing it together. And when I started, I couldn't stop. I just kept on sewing and making these pieces of paper with hexagons, and I just grabbed some leftover fabrics from my dress, from my skirt. This is my favorite thrifted fabric, and I have another dress fabric. And not all the fabrics were best choice for hand sewing. This one is really not a good quality, so I'm really a little bit worried that, yeah, I think it will hold up well, but I'm not quite sure. And this one is actually a corduroy. I don't know if you can see it. It's not good for your hands, I can tell you now. It's too thick, but it was fun anyway. And I decided to finish with this, also one of my favorite thrifted fabrics, and I had some more of that, so I made the back panel with the sewing machine. And I always do this. You can open it. I don't work with zippers because why should I when it also works this way. So yeah, it's really making me happy. I'm so happy I finished it. It was so much fun to do. I love the look of it. I don't know if I'm thinking about making a whole blanket, but I don't know. It's I do save my fabric pieces, the leftovers, so we can do it, and I really love the look. So when I put this in our camper van, we did have pillows in the camper van. Our camper van is made by a company, and they did add some pillows, and there was nothing wrong with the pillows, but they were not really my taste. They were not hard jumping to me. They were kind of neutral. So every time I opened the camper, I saw the pillows and I thought, oh, those are pillows. And when I opened the camper right now and I saw my pillow, I thought, oh, that's my pillow. That was hard jumping. And then I thought the other pillows need a hard jumping pillowcase too. So I made another one, a crochet one, a granny square pillow, and this is a leftover pillow too. I really loved it. It's very basic. I just crocheted 2 big granny squares and I connected them together with 1 row of, how do you call it? The single stitch, the single crochet stitch. I don't know. I always get confused by the different terms, but yeah, you can't open this pillowcase. When you want to put it in the washing machine, you have to put it in the washing machine with the pillow in it. And that's okay. These are leftovers. I crocheted it with Long Yarns Norma. It's I did work for Long Yarns a few years ago, and I still have a lot of leftovers in my stash, I found this color combination. I prefer to work with wool, but because the pillows will be used also in summer, we will go traveling with the camper van through some warmer weather, and then wool can be itchy when you have your head on it or whatever. So I decided to search in my cotton stash, and I found this color combination. This is all Long Yarns Norma, and that's a cotton blend. I don't know if you can see it. It's cotton with modal and viscose. It's really soft. It's a DK weight, and I don't know if this would be the color combination I would pick in store when I really would pick the colors, but I love the combination. This was the only combination I could make, and I love it. And I also love that it's not really matchy, because I don't really love matchy. It is yeah, it's not matchy, but it's very personal, and the thing which is matchy is that they both are heart jumping to me. And when I open the camper van right now and I see the pillows on the little couch, my heart jumps because of the handmade pillowcases. So really fun. I have one left. This is also a pillowcase which is not really my style. It's from my daughter, and she didn't want it in her room anymore, and it's as synthetic as it can be. I don't like that, but I decided to make a big granny square at the back side. My mom made a pillowcase with it was a total different pillowcase, but she made a big granny square with a skein of hand-dyed yarn, and I would never choose my hand-dyed yarn for that, but I really love the look of it, and since then I can't stop thinking about it. So I thought maybe it's a good idea to make that too, and I have a hand-dyed skein in my stash. I have a lot of hand-dyed skeins in my stash, but I was thinking of this one. And I'm not sure if this color will be the right choice. There is some brown and orange and green in it, and that's also in the other pillowcases, and I think it will look lovely, but I don't know how it will crochet up. It's always a little bit of a surprise. You have the skeins and you see the look on the skein, and when you turn it into a yarn cake it completely changes, and when you turn it into some knitting or crochet stitches it completely changes again. So I have no idea. I also have some skeins which are more solid, so maybe those are better for a granny square, but my plan for now is just wind it up into a yarn cake and start crocheting with it, and then decide. If I don't like the look of a crochet granny square in this color combination, I can rip it out and I can decide if I want to make socks or whatever from it. But yeah, I really love the look of those color, and every time I think of the backside of this color I think of this yarn, so I don't know why. It must have a reason, so I will give it a try. Yeah, and of course I will keep you updated. Last but not least, my last finished object from this week. These are my January socks from the Colorwork Cuff Club from Summer Lee. It's a pattern. You get a Colorwork chart for the cuff of your socks every month from August 2024 till August 2025, and this is the January chart, and it's really easy peasy, simple one, and I really love the scalloped look. It was an easy knit, and I love the look of it. I kept the cuffs quite short. I think it's a good idea, but I don't know. I didn't wear them yet. I don't know if I will wear them quickly. I don't need socks actually, so I will put them in my box of socks. I have a box of socks. I was looking for a nice box, but I couldn't find one, and then I decided to choose a box you can look through. So you can see all the lovely socks I will knit, and I can pick a new pair if I want to, but more important, I can pick a new pair for someone else if I want to. And I just knit all the socks because I'm really on the sock knitting train. I love knitting socks. I have 4 pairs of socks on my needles right now. That's quite a lot, but I just love doing it. But I only don't need all the socks myself. So really lovely. I used durable tweed, a tweed yarn and some leftovers, and yeah, it was a heart jumping project again. I also loved the March chart with the little half of the flower leaves, but I didn't feel that I want to cast them on because I had so much socks happening on my needles already. I did cast on a new pair of socks I want to share a little bit about. It is again from my Dutch knitting friend, Mirjam Molenbeek, a Dutch designer. She made a new design, a sock design. Let's put it on the blocker so you can see it, because it's looking a little bit... you can't really see the nice stitch definition. She designed the Hopjes socks, and she lives in The Hague in the Netherlands, and you have Hopjes, which is a typical typical candy from The Hagues, and quite recently they decided to quit the production of the Hopjes candy. So she wanted to honor that little nice sweet treatment with naming the socks after that candy. And it's she knitted the socks with a baby cable, and it's actually a very nice structure stitch. You are not cabling at all. It's very easy to knit, but it looks like a tiny little cable, and I really love the classic look of it. I did choose for a dark yarn. I bought it last week when it was knit night at my local yarn shop in Breda, La Boutique Péridot, and I bought some commercial sock yarn. It's from Belgium, and it's a very cheap yarn, but I think it knits up very good, and I think it holds up quite good too. But I have 1 pair of socks knitted in this yarn, but I didn't wear them very much. But yeah, also it looks quite good, so I think it's okay. But it's really a lovely yarn to knit with, and I decided to choose a darker color because I think, yeah, I felt I wanted a darker color, and I just casted them on after knit night. When I do some social activity in the evening, I have to unwind when I'm back at home, so I decided to cast on the sock immediately, and I have new needles, although those are borrowed needles. I knit my socks on 2mm needles, most of the time magic loop. I am knitting on shorties right now, but all my needles were busy making other socks, and I was thinking about buying some interchangeable 2mm needle points because I only have fixed needles. And she only had the 10cm points on a tiny little cable, and I was doubting, and she said you can borrow those, and if you like them, you can buy them, but you don't have to decide. And I said I can buy them anyway, but she said no, try them, they are for trying. So that was very generous of her, and I really love knitting on the short needles, the 10cm and the short cable. It's really lovely for knitting magic loop, so I will buy them, and I'm really happy. So I'm really happy with knitting those socks. I also did buy some knitting for Olive Merino in a lovely color. It's called Nut Brown, and I want to give the round yoke a try again. I have a problem with the fit of the round yokes. I think part of my problem is that I don't pick the right size. I go for 0 to, for not enough positive ease. I always pick a size quite close to my bust circumference, and I organized 2 knitting days in February, and we brought all the knitted garments with us, so we could fit other ones' garments, and I did fit some bigger sizes round yokes, and the fit was actually quite good. So now I want to give it a try again by knitting a round yoke garment, and I chose the Salty Air Tea. The pattern was gifted to me by one of my Dutch knitting friends, and I did fit her garment, but she knitted in holes super soft, and that's way too itchy on me because it's a short sleeve. It's a tee. It's a really lovely lace yoke, and then the rest is stockinette in fingering weight, so that's a little bit exciting because fingering weight, it does take a little bit more time than a DK weight, but I think I can give it a try. So I will knit that one, and I think the lace part, the yoke part, will be a lot of fun knitting, and then it will be quite endless. It is quite a crop tee, but it will be quite some stockinette knitting, but it's good to cast it on right now, so it will be finished. Yeah, after the round yoke, the lace yoke, I can just pick it up every time, and it will not be endless stockinette, but just in between stockinette, and I will finish it anyway. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it matches good with my skirt. I think it will. It's quite brown, but we love brown. Okay, this was it for today. I want to thank you for watching. I wish you a very good week. I hope you have enough heart jumping moments. If you can't find them, create them, because we need them. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!